Happy New Year's, Wolfpack wrestling fans. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Obviously presented by the Wolfpack Wrestling Club and Wolfpack RTC. And joining us early January, head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio. Pat, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How's it
running again? 2024.
2024. I think we've been at this for like 8 years now. So that's a world record here.
Starting it off with a bang.
Did you get some time off over the holidays?
Yeah, we got a little break, much needed. We got about 5 days regroup.
Okay.
Been back here for a little over a week now, so it's been good.
Big
week. You?
Oh, you never asked me any questions. This is great. This is a great start to the new year.
Yeah.
Had I think I'm on week 3 of my vacation, so this is great. I kind of like it.
Not bad. Real world problems.
Hey, I sacrificed for years, so it's paying off now. But Wolfpack Wrestling, you guys were down in Nashville, came back, getting ready. Huge opportunity this weekend. Friday night, returning to Reynolds. I know you're a big Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fan, so as he would say, finally the Wolfpack is coming back to Reynolds Coliseum. The team, the fans, the coaches, everybody has got to be excited.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming since we've been in Reynolds, so this is it's finally here. You gonna be there?
It depends how much tickets are. You know, I don't get those free tickets anymore. Not on any pass list yet, so I don't know. I'll have to save up some money here.
You'll be all right.
Hot ticket though. I think it's gonna be a great crowd.
I think so too. I think we're very close to a sellout, and depending on the walk up, hopefully we got to turn away people.
So obviously we're talking NC State, Oklahoma State. Nice little addition to the home schedule. Pat, it's been a few years since you've been in Stillwater yourself, and you faced Coach Smith. But what's it like going up against your alma mater?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's
well, first of all, they're all good questions.
They're always good questions, but no, it's a good opportunity. It's obviously a place that's molded me as a human being and wrestling. You know, and knowing and understanding the rich tradition that Oklahoma State has, it's just a really good opportunity for our program to compete alongside of such a rich tradition. So we are honored and excited for the opportunity that we get to compete with teams like this. And, you know, I think it's more for our fan base than anything to get a duel like that in Reynolds, because it has been, since Oklahoma State's been here, it's been a long time, probably in the old Reynolds, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think your second or third year here they came.
Yeah. So it'll be good. And the atmosphere is obviously one of the best in the country when that place is packed, and we expect it to be just good energy in there come Friday night.
You guys were down in Nashville late December, little holiday break, back in action. Your guys have been doing nothing but going against each other in practice. How eager are they to face a different opponent?
It's going to be good, and especially a different opponent that we historically get on our schedule. So I think it's just great for both programs and our guys to see elite level guys and, you know, put it on the line and see where we're at and things we got to continue to get better at and just seize the opportunity. But yeah, it is. You know, we've been wrestling a lot first semester, a lot of miles, traveling all over. So to be at home, that's just an exciting opportunity. And I know you're going to hit it a little later, but we did have 2 guys compete over the break. So not everyone has just been wrestling in the room.
Okay. Oh, well, that's right. Midlands. Let's just get to that now since you teased it. Pair of heavyweights going up there. Chase Horn, Isaac Trumbull. Isaac won the heavyweight bracket, got a top 10 win there. First time we've seen him on the mat. Kind of talk about Isaac. He's been in a little different situation, obviously redshirting this year, getting ready for the freestyle Olympic team trials, but great to get him out there in some folk style.
Yeah, it was good. You know, it's his first competition of the year, and obviously was wrestling up. Looked really good, and I think his style mirrored well for that heavyweight division. He's actually getting ready to go overseas Saturday. Him and Tariq will be heading out and get some more freestyle experience. So between, you know, training at the Olympic Training Center, some of these training camps, and a couple open tournaments, you know, it's when you're redshirting and you've been in our lineup, it's a little different road, and it's not an easy road to take when you're switching styles back and forth. But at the end of the day, it's really just about improving your skills throughout the year. And it's a great opportunity. You're switching back from freestyle to folk style. It's different. It's not consistent, but it makes you better at wrestling. And I think that's what we're seeing from Isaac. But he looked really good wrestling up. And I thought it was a good tournament for him to go out and compete in.
It was funny. I actually texted with him the next morning about something. He's a little nervous about this weight cut. He has to, he enjoyed the holidays. He says he's enjoying eating. He's not missing the weight cut, but he's got to get back.
Now he's got to get back down to 97 kilos. So it'll be all right. That's one workout away for him probably.
And you always hide the fact, but Tariq Wilson, nothing brings him yet another medal. I mean, the guy, when he's in your corner,
we're calling him Rookie of the Year. He's going to get Rookie of the Year, I think, this year.
Okay. I hope he gets some per diem or something. I hope he gets compensated somehow.
Yeah. You know how per diem works.
I used to. Oh, man, I do miss the per diem. So that is one sad
thing. It was your gambling money.
I know Tariq loses his money at the table too. So, but going back to Oklahoma State, I mean, I know you hate rankings, but all 20 starters potentially, we could see 10 ranked versus ranked matchups. I mean, ESPNU will be there. So hopefully, I mean, we want everybody to get to Reynolds, obviously, but if you can't get to Reynolds, it's on ESPNU. Just set up for a great environment Friday night. Going over some of these matchups here. 133, number 3, Dayton Fix. He's back in the lineup. Everybody knows about him. He's been at Oklahoma State for, I think, 10 years now. But just one of the best wrestlers at 133 that we've seen for a while.
Doctors.
Yeah. Kai Arini, these two actually met a couple years ago. Great opportunity for Kai. He's coming off a little surprising loss to Ohio State, but it doesn't get much better than facing Dayton Fix.
No, and you're right. The last time those guys wrestled, there was a really entertaining match. Both very dynamic wrestlers, so that should be a fun one to do in Reynolds. And Kai Styles is a little unique and different, so I'm excited to see those two put it on the line. But another great opportunity when you get to see someone that's the level of Dayton Fix is at. So it should be a fun one.
I think everybody's kind of looking forward to what kind of response. I want to ask you, Jacob Camacho, no sugarcoating. He had a rough go at Nashville, but he's got a freshman here ranked in the top 20. How has Camacho responded, or what are your expectations of Camacho?
Yeah, it's one of those, you come off the weekend that he had and disappointing results, but it doesn't take away from his skill set and talent. And I mean, us as a staff and a program still have the utmost confidence in his skill set. He's proven that he can compete with the best guys in the country. So it comes with the territory. You can take some losses here and there. Taking 3 in a row is not a typical day in college wrestling. So, you go from being where he was at, and again, you like the rankings, not me, but being ranked pretty high to now you got to dig yourself back into the, where you want to be. And sometimes it's a good spot for some guys, and he's a fighter. So it'll be a good one, And I think the luxury of having a good schedule is if you have a bad off weekend, you're just one weekend away from getting back on course to where you need to be. And the luxury with college wrestling is your goals that you want to accomplish still lie ahead. And that comes down to obviously our conference tournament and NCAA. So everything in between that, we just got to keep getting better.
I'm not a fan of rankings. I'm a man of the people. The people love the rankings. So I speak for the people.
Well, the good news is at 125 this year, I think you can take the top 20 guys and shuffle them around in a cup and throw out the seedings come NCAAs. And it's going to be who's on that weekend.
Wrestling Twitter gets a little fired up every time those 125 rankings come out. So can't wait for the coaches panel rankings to come out. So then everybody can start blaming the coaches again. Yeah. But going up, I want to ask you about 165. You guys are familiar with the opponent, Isaac. I can't even pronounce his last name. Former All-American, transfer to Oklahoma State. But 125 for you guys, it's kind of been up in the air. You've had AJ Kovacs. You have Derek Fields. Both have been getting competition. Both have some positive results. Where do we stand with the Wolfpack at 165 right now?
Well, the good news is we got 2 really good options and 2 guys that are continuing to develop pretty fast. So I like where we're at, and again, that was a question mark in the beginning of the year, but both of those guys keep getting better and pushing each other. And, at the end of the day, we're going to go and look through and see who has the better quality wins. and both guys have some decent wins right now, and we still got a lot of wrestling left, so they're both going to get opportunities as far as dual meets come, and we'll sit down and see where we're at towards the end of the year. But it's going to be more about who we think matches up better with what style and where we're at in the dual meet. And that, usually at 65, it's kind of a match before decision that we make. We want both guys ready, and I think these guys have done a really good job in the role that they're in and maintaining, where we're at as a team, but also trying to get themselves better and more prepared. And I think Friday night is a great out. Whoever wrestles has a great opportunity to leave a mark for what they're looking for in this season.
I wanted to highlight 174. I think this is the ultimate swing match that it could be. You have a 6th-year guy in Faison, and you have a freshman for Oklahoma State, Thompson, one of the highest-ranked recruits. Little age gap. It's going to be a good one, though. Both of the guys kind of lower rankings, but they're both trying to work their way up, trying to get their weight qualified for. But I think this could really be the potential swing match here in this duel.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got two guys that are like you said, are coming on pretty good right now. And Faison, this is the time of year where really started turning the corner for us last year, and that's where he needs to be right now. He's had a little rocky start, but we know how good he can be when he cleans a couple things up, and he's got his weight under control and got the matches that he needed to fix some things that technically have made some mistakes. But this is a really good opportunity to wrestle a guy that is he's young and developing right now. So I think these are two guys you'll see at the NCAA tournament that are doing pretty well come towards the end of the year. But yeah, as far as the duel goes, this one's you look across the lineup, you hit it. Every match is kind of a ranked match, but these two are pretty neck and neck with each other. So this one could be a critical one.
I'm surprised you knew they were neck and neck if you never look at the rankings. So this is great.
Well, seedings at different tournaments go off.
Okay.
And results. How about results? Similar results.
Result-based business. That's where we sit right now. But last one we're going to go over, and I caught up with him this week. So stay tuned. Redshirt freshman Dylan Fishback going to be a guest on the podcast. You talked about his schedule, unreal. Over half of his matches against ranked foes. Another top 5 opponent in Plott, 2-time All-American. If Wolfpack fans haven't seen him, kind of describe Fishback's style and what he brings to your lineup there at 84.
Very, Dylan's a very dynamic wrestler, and I think you can see that when he's out there competing. He's got a ton of experience and pretty explosive wrestler, and he's got, all the skill sets you need to compete to win a national title as a freshman, and he just needs the experience. And I think if you look at all the guys that are in our starting lineup and their schedule and their path for the year, he probably has the toughest, which is a guy that, we know can handle that kind of schedule. And he's not focused on his losses. It's what can he get better at. And every time he goes out and competes, he improves. And so I think as the season goes on and week to week, we're only going to see a better version of Dylan. And he is fun and exciting to watch. And that's going to be a great opportunity for him when you get to compete against a guy like Plott. And just got to trust your skill set and let it fly.
Pat, great catching up. Wolfpack fans, everyone's excited to get back into Reynolds Coliseum to see this team perform. Great opponent of Oklahoma State coming into town. I'm excited. I mean, I might be on my couch watching it because I might not get a ticket, but
you better be there. You better be there in the stands.
People better get their tickets.
You were one of the guys always on me about making sure we had a top 10 opponent in Reynolds. So you got your wish. So you better come through on that end.
I do. You think
hosting with you? I want a selfie. How about that?
You think hosting the podcast here for free, there would be a little bit of a benefit. I'm just asking
we
for
can talk offline on that.
Okay. Offline. All right, we'll have to see. I'll remind you about it here on the podcast.
Well, check your ID card. It might still work at the end.
That is true. I did take a couple things from NC State. I might not have been supposed to, but
yep.
Pat, great catching up. Look forward to seeing you guys in action this weekend. Oh, by the way, we'll mention it really quick. The Oklahoma State duel, that's not the only duel you guys got going on this weekend.
No.
It
is a quick turnaround.
It's a quick turnaround. Kind of tell us about the the other competition you guys are going to?
Yeah, so originally we were flying back from our overseas trip we were supposed to have, and we were going to spend a day in New York and then wrestle Hofstra, which obviously things changed to here. So we'll take a Saturday flight up there, stay overnight, and then Sunday 11 o'clock duel against Hofstra University, former assistant coach of mine when I was at Binghamton. So that's always a good, fun little scrappy duel that we'll be able to get in on a Sunday afternoon.
I noticed you didn't pronounce his last name because you probably
Papadopoulos. We got the same amount of vowels in our last name. Greek to Italian.
Bless Binghamton's heart. Their PA announcer was just having it back in those days.
Yep.
But NC State fans, get your tickets. NC State, Oklahoma State, Friday night, Reynolds Coliseum. Pat, thanks for catching us up. Always appreciate you breaking down your lineup.
You bet. Appreciate it, Brian. Look forward to seeing you Friday.
I'll be there. Wolfpack fans, stay tuned. Interview with redshirt freshman Dylan Fishback is next. Welcome back to the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Joined now by redshirt freshman Dylan Fishback. Dylan, first time on the podcast. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Recording this New Year's Day, so happy New Year's. Thanks for taking the time. Did you get out of Raleigh over the holiday break and everything?
Yeah, I got to go home after Nashville. I got to go home for, I think, 6 days. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty nice to just kind of relax a little bit and not really think too much about being here, wrestling.
Okay.
See some family.
Aurora, Ohio. Where about is that?
It's about 30 minutes southeast of Cleveland.
Okay.
It's kind of a smaller town, but it's northeast Ohio.
Okay. Big Browns fan then?
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Bandwagon, they're good this year, so you can admit it.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing pretty good. I actually haven't been watching football that much this year, but
okay. Yeah, you've had a very busy year. A lot of matches. We're going to get into that, but I think it was kind of interesting. I remember I used to work with Coach Adam Hall when you guys going into your junior year, they could start recruiting you. NC State obviously had you high on the list, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, they were kind of thinking you were about 165 when they started recruiting you, and then all of a sudden, about a year later, you're up to 195. What kind of happened in those 2 years of high school where you really jumped a couple weight classes?
So yeah, my first 2 years I wrestled 152, 160, and then over COVID I really started like lifting consistently, like 4 days a week, and I kind of just like hit a growth spurt throughout COVID, and then had to grow into my body, obviously, but I really like put on like close to 15, 20 pounds throughout like COVID. I mean, not all of it was good weight, but like lifting wise, it definitely helped. And so then I started to like the next, like my junior, senior year started to like grow into that. And then now, I mean, my body's also changed a lot the last year or two. So
what makes 184 a good weight for you?
I think it's a pretty good weight. I'm definitely not small for the weight, and I don't know if I'm the biggest, but like I feel pretty strong, especially this year. I've got my weight more in tune, I guess. Last year I felt like I was getting a little too small and kind of like skinny by the end of the season, but right now I feel pretty good and strong for the weight.
I was going to say last year you redshirted, obviously a lot different. You're kind of not with the team, but weight management is also a big issue. How difficult is a redshirt season?
I've realized college wrestling is hard in general, but redshirting is is a different perspective, especially now with the new rules. At least for me, I pretty much traveled everywhere last year, almost to every event, I think, except Vegas. But I went to every duel. I weighed in at almost every event, and it was really cool to see, like, to be able to travel with the team, because it basically is close to being in the lineup as I could last year, other than competing, obviously. But it was it's a good experience to see how things work and kind of go through that process and making weight like every week and kind of getting a routine of that. It definitely helped me a lot for this year. Like, so I kind of know what to expect going into this season, and it definitely helped a lot last year. And I mean, a normal redshirt season, like I would be going to a lot of open tournaments,
Uh-huh.
but I still got a good amount of matches last year too, so it prepared me for this year for sure.
I was going to say, now you're in the lineup.
Mhm.
Obviously, wrestling's a lot different when you're in the lineup, but what
Yeah.
kind of differences? You've been through one semester, so you got your feet wet a little bit, but what's kind of some differences maybe you didn't expect, or maybe something you handled that was a positive so far?
I would say a couple things. I guess I mean, I knew this going in, but you don't realize the grind of everything until
Mhm.
you're in it. And even like I try to tell like my family or like other people that like support me, or like even I didn't realize how like college wrestling is hard,
Mhm.
and you don't realize it though until like you're actually like in it. And like I knew it was gonna be tough, regardless. Like even last year was tough, but like once you're in the lineup, like wrestling top guys all the time, it's
Mhm.
a different kind of, it's a different level of like you got to be you got to be ready mentally, physically, like kind of all the time. Just because everyone's good, college
Mhm.
wrestling is tough, so like definitely got to be mentally prepared all the time, I would say. And that's another big thing I realized, at least for me, is like everyone's good in college, right? But I think believing in yourself and like your coaches is a big part of that, especially at the college level.
Mhm.
And so for me, like this year, I've just really focused on just kind of like, I guess, building confidence throughout the season, just in believing in myself and my abilities. And then just the results will take care of itself.
Have you sat back at all? I mean, your schedule so far has been pretty incredible. I think
Mhm.
half of your opponents have been ranked. Have you thought about, did you expect this kind of workload?
I wasn't too sure. I mean, I know our schedule is pretty good,
Mhm.
and this year it's probably even better than it has been. I mean, I enjoy competing against high level guys, and I think we did a good job this year of our balancing our schedule. Kind of like earlier in the season, we were traveling a lot, but the competition level maybe was not as good, and then we slowly like got better and better competition, and now like you're kind of like, now I'm just like kind of ready for whoever I compete against. I know it's gonna be like a good tough match, but like I think they prepared us well this season for that.
One of those top events that you talked about, Cliff Keen, you had
Mhm.
a podium finish, top 5 win. Kind of, you got your name on the radar a little bit more. People started to realize because you're a redshirt freshman. Did you feel like that was a good tournament for you? Was that a good stepping stone for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I wrestled pretty well. I obviously feel like I could have wrestled even better, but it was a good tournament, I would say, to somewhat replicate the national tournament by the end of the
Mhm.
year, and to see some of those guys that we don't get to see all the time, and be able to wrestle a tournament. It's definitely different wrestling just like one match in a duel
Yep.
versus going through a grind of a tournament like that. And I realized that when I was out there, like it's pretty tough to wrestle even 3 matches in a day. I think the first day I wrestled 5 matches,
Mhm.
uh, and like by the end of the first day, I was pretty spent. And I think 3 of my matches that weekend were overtime
Yep.
matches. So like, I mean, that's kind of how NCAA's is probably gonna. They're all gonna be tough matches.
Yep.
So it definitely helped prepare for that end of the year. And I know I don't think I wrestled my best at Vegas, which I'm not trying to wrestle my best yet,
Mhm.
but I think I competed pretty well overall.
Last time out, you got the number 1 kid in the country, UNI's Kekheisen, 1
Mhm.
takedown bout. What was your performance going up against a top level NCAA finalist?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know exactly what to expect wrestling him. I mean, I thought I wrestled pretty well. I
Mhm.
guess I in my opinion, I think I gave him maybe a little too much respect. Just because I realized after the match that I I can I can take him down. I can get to his legs more than I thought. So I think if I were to wrestle him again, I would like to attack a lot more, which I feel like I didn't attack as much as I wanted to. And so I feel like it was a one takedown match, so I feel like I'm right there and can compete with anyone at the weight. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not about how I do now. It's what I do at the end of the season that really matters. So kind of learn from wrestling those high level guys.
We're taping this. Obviously, you guys have the first home duel of the year coming up against Oklahoma State, but you guys have been on the road for over 2 months. Yeah. How much of a grind has it been for you guys where every competition has been away from Raleigh?
It's been pretty tough. There's been a couple trips where it was tiring. I mean, I think it was in November. There was like a 2-week span, maybe like a 10 days where we were only back in Raleigh for maybe 2 days over a 10-day period. And that was pretty tough. And then we had a couple like longer trips. Sometimes it is tough, especially when we're out on a trip for 5 days, 4 or 5 days, because you're like kind of getting antsy to wrestle, but like you're still there for a few more days, and that can get tough. But like try and take it like one day at a time. But now it's definitely good that like the second half of the season we're almost home for almost every duel, other than like 2. So it's gonna be cool to be home back in Reynolds.
I was gonna say maybe some Wolfpack fans haven't been able to see you guys wrestle too much. How would you describe your wrestling style to a Wolfpack wrestling fan?
It's a good question. I think my style is definitely unique. I typically like to attack a lot with different attacks and try to score as many points as I can. I mean, I like to use the term, I won't say I'm a super slick wrestler, but I definitely have some slick things. I have some solid things. So I feel like I have a pretty dynamic style, I would say, that if you haven't watched me wrestle, I feel like I like to score a lot of points and kind of just make it fun to watch.
Friday, January 5th, NC State, Oklahoma State in Reynolds. You took advantage of that redshirt rule last year. You wrestled in Reynolds against Duke, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a different environment for the Oklahoma State duel. Are you excited to wrestle in front of the home crowd?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I mean, out of almost every match I've ever wrestled, I think the most memorable match was in Reynolds last year against Duke. Even though it wasn't a big like matchup duel, it was just one of the coolest experiences I've had wrestling in Reynolds. And so like I'm definitely excited to get back there. And Oklahoma State is probably gonna be, I'm guessing, already sold out, or there's gonna be a lot of people there, and hopefully most of them are gonna be our fans anyway. But yeah, I think it's cool to wrestle in front of a home crowd, especially here. We have a great fan support.
Yourself, another top 5 matchup, I think Plott's number 4, number 5, 2-time All-American. What kind of challenges is for you Friday night?
I think just kind of be free, I guess, when I'm competing. Just not get to don't let him slow me down. Just kind of wrestle my match, and I think just wrestle through every position, and I feel like I'll come out on top. It'll be a good match, though. He wrestles pretty hard. I won't say he does anything super crazy. He just wrestles pretty hard, and if I just wrestle hard through every position, I like my odds, I guess.
Okay.
It'll be a fun match, though. I actually I haven't wrestled him live, but I trained with him a little bit this summer at the Olympic Training Center, and so I kind of have felt him a little bit, but I think it'll be a good match regardless.
If it's up to you in a duel, do you start at 125? Do you start at 184? Do you want to be the last match? What do you like?
I would rather start at 125 because I like to watch the duel myself. Like I like to watch our guys compete, and if I'm like the second or third match, it's like I have to warm up right away,
Yeah.
and I don't get to watch guys. And so I like to watch a few matches and then go warm up a little bit.
I was gonna say, about what weight do you go? You got to get off the bench and start to warm up.
Usually about 157. It depends. Depends how Ed is feeling, if he wants to pin a guy in the first period
Could
or
be a
not.
quick
So
match, yeah. Absolutely.
sometimes I have to be ready to warm up sooner, but
Okay.
usually around 157, I like to warm up. Yeah, I like to watch at least a few matches before.
What do you like doing off the mat? You're not wrestling today. What would you be doing?
Well, right now, honestly, not too much. I kind of just hang out at home, or recently I started picking back up watching some movies, which I haven't been watching. I don't really watch a lot of TV or anything, but I've started watching a couple shows, and I wouldn't say I really do too much off the mat right now, especially in the winter. But like summertime, I like to be outside in the summer a lot, or just doing anything outside in the summer is what I would like to do. But yeah, I like to just relax when I'm not training or wrestling.
I haven't looked for a while. Has there been a day in the life of a wrestler by you? I mean,
I
that
haven't
was a
made
huge
one in a
series
while.
back in the day. Okay.
Yeah, and it's been hard to kind of do that during season. Plus, I don't want to like focus too much on that. But yeah, I'll probably get back to it this semester. Maybe make a couple videos, hopefully.
Yeah, Wolfpack fans want to see the life of a wrestler. Dylan Fishback, they like that.
Yeah.
What about schoolwork? I know you're in your second year here at NC State. Any direction towards school?
Yeah, right now I started out as a business major, and I think I'm gonna actually double major in business and psychology, just because I find psychology pretty interesting. But yeah, I think business and psychology right now, and just this year has been a little bit tougher, I'd say, than last year, at least this semester. But also first time in the lineup, traveling a lot. I think kind of played a factor a little bit more than I thought it was going to. But definitely going into the next semester, I picked some of my classes that I feel like I'll be more interested in, I guess, because some of the classes can be a little boring at times. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have focused on my schoolwork this past year. I feel like it's not easy, but you also I like to think it's not easy, but it's also simple in a way that if you just take the time to do it, like you probably will get the result you want, kind of like wrestling.
Okay. Freestyle aspirations kind of after college still?
Yeah, right now, obviously if my body holds up and the way I plan on it, I like to compete at least one Olympic cycle, hopefully. I mean, I don't want to compete forever, but I would like to wrestle definitely after college, and especially freestyle. I've started to kind of fall in love with it recently.
What was the best trip that you've done through wrestling?
Best trip? Probably this summer. I got a chance to go to Poland and compete, and that was a really cool experience. I actually got to travel with Mock, so that was just a great experience overall. I mean, that was my first time overseas. And so like, I mean, it was good that I got to go with somebody like I knew and I've trained with. So like that was cool. Like even just the wrestling was cool because I got to wrestle foreign guys, which I've never gotten to do before. That was an experience in itself. But going to another country, it's really a cool experience.
When you go to that, I mean, I know that was your first, but did you get to enjoy the country? Did you get to eat? Did you get to sightsee, or is it just strictly wrestling?
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, that tournament, it was really a one-day tournament, but we were there maybe 4 days, 5 days, and I think we got to sightsee like the day after we competed, which was cool. Like we got to go to they have like an old town. We were in Warsaw, so like we got to see like the old city and then the like newer city. Like that was pretty cool. I debated on booking a flight to Italy while I was there,
Okay.
because it was like $100 flight
Yep.
to Italy. I was like, might as well, but I didn't.
Oh,
But I'm hoping to get back to travel a little bit in Europe and
yep.
kind of experience some other countries.
I was going to say, unfortunately, the Italy trip did not happen this year, but
Yeah.
Oklahoma State in Reynolds Coliseum, you can't beat that. Dylan, I hope you're excited for it. Wolfpack fans, they're really looking forward to watching you guys inside Reynolds, and want to thank you for taking the time to join us today and just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Wolfpack fans, that's another edition of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, go Pack.